Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another 1/12 scale S.H.Figuarts unboxing and review video. Now today we're taking a look at none other than Wonder Woman in her golden armor based off her appearance in WW84. I personally am pretty darn excited. Say what you will about the film, even those who didn't necessarily like it will still agree that this suit looked totally badass. And I'm hoping this Figuarts release does the suit justice. Now if you are looking to pick this up, it is in stock right now with toyswonderland.com. Link for that is of course down in the description below, and they do have 12-month installment plans if you are a fan of paying off your figures over time. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here of course we have the box art for Wonder Woman. I have to say this might just be one of the most stunning pieces of box artwork that I've seen from Bandai and Tamashii Nations in a while. We've got this gorgeous oil painting effect of Wonder Woman in her golden armor on the front, plus that really super colorful, vibrant Wonder Woman logo, because of course this is supposed to be the W, that wraps all the way around to the back, with a couple of product shots of the figure herself. Yes, there is no window to see through to the figure, but I think they didn't want to sacrifice the gorgeous looking artwork, and honestly, I can't blame them for that. It looks absolutely stunning. And here of course we have Wonder Woman herself. I've been pretty darn excited to pick up the Hot Toys release of this armor, and I'm hoping the Figuarts version is a really nice 1/12 scale rendition of this suit. And first in-hand impressions are, holy moly, this gold looks absolutely gorgeous. You can see the light is reflecting beautifully off the suit itself. Now you can see she does come with one tray up above and another one down below. So what we are going to do now is get all of her accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything she comes with. And here we have all the bits and pieces that come with the golden armor Wonder Woman. Let's start off by taking a look at the wings first. The single biggest accessory to come with this figure, and there is a lot going on here. First of all, let's talk about the sculpt. It's really nicely done, and it is very, very crisp and very, very well detailed. It also is painted in a gorgeous metallic gold. It reflects the light very, very nicely, and when you pop it on the figure, I think it really does a nice job of completing the look. Now, that the good stuff is out of the way, let's talk about my complaints, because I do have a few. First of all, they are a little bit floppy, just due to the weight of them. There are these little sort of hook sections which are meant to sit just on those little connections there, and that's supposed to hold them in place. But unfortunately, when you do have them on the figure, just a little bit of movement will cause them to droop down. Well, it seems Bandai thought of this and they implemented a kind of weird solution. It's these clear post display base pieces. Yes, you're supposed to have Wonder Woman standing there with these two things holding up the wings. Not necessarily the most badass thing that I could personally think of when I thought of golden armor Wonder Woman on display. Having two clear rods holding up her wings, yeah, doesn't really work for me. Also, this centerpiece is made out of that brittle feeling gold plastic. For those of you who don't know, gold plastic is some of the most dangerous plastic when it comes to things degrading over time. This could potentially crack and fade away. I hope it doesn't, because all of the joints are made out of this same swirly gold plastic. There is also a bunch of engineering in terms of articulation. There are multiple points which can move up and down, swivel forward and back, and yes, you can actually wrap the wings around the figure herself. And then potentially you won't have to use these horrible clear display bases. But nevertheless, I am still glad they included the wings. I just wish they used some sort of hybrid lightweight plastic so they didn't feel as heavy and wear out those joints, because it does cause them to sort of droop down and forwards. Now let's talk about the head sculpts, because these are absolutely spectacular. Starting off with the helmeted sculpt, I love the way this looks. I can see Gal Gadot through and through, and they have done that super awesome digital face print. Now it doesn't really hold up under super close inspection, but at a normal viewing distance, yeah, I can see the likeness. Now you do have two options when it comes to the hair. This one has two joints in it. One at the base, it's a swivel style ball joint piece, and then one at the top, just under the helmet there. You can detach the various sections, but what you're really supposed to do is take this piece, plug it in the back, then when you have the wings on, you can have the hair draping over the shoulders. That's a really nice touch. You also, of course, get an unhelmeted head sculpt. It looks equally as good. I'm really impressed with the likeness here. I'm curious, let me know what you think of the likeness down in the comments below. Lastly, she does of course come with her lasso of truth. This is the extended version. It's spooled up on one side and opened up on the other. But on the figure you do get, out of the box, an already spooled up and clipped onto the waist variant. Now she does come with this little clip piece that you are meant to replace this section with when you are having her using the lasso. So you don't have to have two versions of the lasso of truth, both in her hands and on her belt. I have heard toy reviewers complain about small parts like this, saying, oh well, it's going to get lost to the carpet monster, or it's going to fall and then I'll never be able to find it again. My question to y'all is, you're spending a fair amount on these figures, wouldn't you be careful just not to lose or drop something as small as this? I don't think I've ever lost anything that's come with an import figure such as this. She also does come with an array of hands. They are using this really nice, real looking translucent style flesh plastic. It's a really nice touch. They used to use this really chalky, sort of ugly looking paint. Luckily, they don't do that anymore. This is a really nice plastic to cast the hands out of. With all of that out of the way, what we are going to do now is get Wonder Woman herself out here and take a closer look. And here we have her standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. She looks absolutely stunning. The gold paint that they used here is so shiny and metallic that it actually tricks the eye and the camera into making it look like real metal. It is super impressive, at least to me. I also love the head sculpt. It has this ferocity and intensity to the stare. I love the way the hair works, and it also does have really nice and natural proportions, which is something that a lot of figures do often overlook. I think this one might just be my favorite version of a Golden Armor Wonder Woman figure to date. I do own the McFarlane Toys version, and in my opinion, this one is superior. It's obviously a lot more expensive, but if you do love this suit, you kind of owe it to yourself to pick up this figure because it is quite a lot better, in my opinion. What we are going to do now, though, is take her off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. And here we have her up close and personal. I have to say, I didn't really know what to expect from Wonder Woman here because I'd never owned a Gal Gadot Wonder Woman figure from Figuarts previously. Having this in hand though, I can honestly say, yeah, I'm super impressed. You have to remember, this is a 1/12 scale figure, which means this head sculpt is relatively small. Yet, in my opinion, they still managed to capture the likeness. They have gone for that digital face printing technology. So yes, up close, like super up close, you can see the little dots on the paint application. But at a distance, say from even about there, it starts to look really, really realistic. The skin tone looks great, and yes, you can make out the eyes and the details on the mouth and the wrinkles. It looks like a pretty darn good sculpt. So yeah, I'm rather impressed. The hair itself is also quite nicely done. You did see in the accessory segment that there are various other hair pieces, and we will swap them out in just a second. Also, let's talk for a minute about the gold, because this is absolutely gorgeous. You can see under the lights in the light box, it is shining and shimmering a treat. It looks absolutely awesome. I'm super impressed with whatever gold paint they've used on this, because yeah, it looks like a real metal suit of armor. And then on the fabric mesh style sections, they have a nice matte finish. Up here on the arms, you can see gold once again. But as you can see, standing here in front of us, she doesn't really look like just a all gold glob. She has detail, she has texture, and you can also see the silver braces are really nicely done as well. So I was worried about this looking kind of boring and monotonous, but if this figure can pull it off in 1/12 scale, I do have high hopes for Hot Toys and their 1/6 scale version. Now, in terms of attaching the various bits and pieces, you can see there is a peg hole in the back, which is nicely covered up by the hair. It's rather ingenious by Bandai. So, without further ado, let's get started swapping out some of the pieces. And here we have her wearing the helmet. This might just be my favorite look. I love the way the helmet looks, plus it's coated with that same gorgeous gold paint, and the sculpt is really nice and sharp. Now it is up to you whether or not you use this hair going back, or you use the secondary piece which has the hair going around the front. This is supposed to be the one you use with the helmet with the wings. But if you did want to, there's nothing stopping you from pulling the hair back and then simply popping the wings on her back there. It does nicely get out of the way. I personally will probably be going for this look, potentially without the wings, because I don't necessarily want to use that additional display base piece to hold up the super heavy wings. Nevertheless, it's going to be entirely up to you how you decide to display her. And lastly, here we have her with the wings on and the hairpiece coming around the front. This looks really good, but the issue is because of the weight of the wings, they literally just fall down. You can wedge them over those little clip sections and then they kind of stay in place, but she is far too heavy to keep standing with these wings on. They are just super duper hefty. However, the look is undeniably awesome. This looks totally fantastic. If I could have her on display wearing the wings and not have to use those clear display poles, then that would be the ideal, because as you can see, she looks totally fantastic. These wings are super impressive. The wingspan is massive, they have great articulation, and of course, as you can see, under the right lighting, they shine a treat. They look suitably metallic. So yes, overall, I wasn't super excited for a fully gold version of Wonder Woman in 1/12 scale, but now I have this figure in hand, I'm suitably impressed. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the Figuarts version of Wonder Woman standing alongside the Mezco version of Aquaman. And as you can see, if you did want to get this Wonder Woman to scale alongside your Justice League figures, potentially, and have an Elseworlds version of your league, then yeah, I think it kind of works. She is slightly smaller in scale than Aquaman, but he's a tall dude, so in my mind's eye, that works. I personally will be building the Mezco League. I have that 3-pack on order, so I will need to go ahead and pick up the Mafex version of Cyborg, and I do believe I want to go for the Wonder Woman 84 version of the classic suit as well. So stay tuned to the channel, because I envision a review of her coming up very soon. Next up, here we have her standing alongside the Justice League Tactical Suit Batman, again from Mezco. This is not my favorite figure in the line. In fact, it might be one of my least favorite. Mezco kind of does this weird thing where the proportions look overly exaggerated and the arms and legs look a little bit too chunky and the torso slightly too squat, and I think Batman's armor just exacerbates the whole thing. I'm hoping the regular suit Batman looks better. If not, I will be going for the Mafex version of Batman for my Justice League 6-inch display. Nevertheless, you're not here to talk about that, you're here to take a look at what these two look like standing together. Once again, Batman is a slightly bigger scale, but I think height-wise, this could work. Once again, if you wanted to have this figure in your Justice League display. Just going over articulation on Wonder Woman. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go. Now I have put her back to her stock standard configuration, no wings and no helmet. Of course, if you do have those various pieces put on there, the articulation will be rather restricted. Starting off with the head sculpt, this hair coming down the front and around the back, even though it is on a floating piece, does limit the head movement pretty much entirely. You can get side to side, but forward and back is severely limited. The arms themselves will go up to about there. They can drop down, which means they can go up slightly higher if you do move that shoulder pad out of the way. They also go forward the full way around. Just remember to push this back up into place. There is a swivel up there as well, a single bend at the elbow, but it gets you way past 90, and of course a standard Figuarts joint for the wrist. As for the torso, there is a dumbbell style joint. That means there's a ball joint up on top and down below, and there's a floating piece in between. So you do get a fairly decent range of motion out of the torso. The legs themselves will go forward to about there, out to there, but they do have a little teeny bit of play, especially in this lower part of the armor, to go up slightly higher. There is a swivel up there as well, a double bend at the knee, and of course we do have a regular Figuarts style joint down here at the ankle, plus toe articulation. Just wrapping up on the Figuarts Golden Armor version of Wonder Woman. Now I've said this a few times, I wasn't really all that excited going into this. I mean, I knew I wanted the figure, obviously, that's why I ordered it, but the prospect of having a 6-inch version of just a gold-plated suit of armor wasn't really all that excited because I didn't know how much detail they'd be able to pack in there. But they did one thing that, in my opinion, sells the entire piece, and that's the paint applications. They did it so well that I can unequivocally say that this is now my favorite Wonder Woman figure in 6-inch scale that I own. And I do own a few, not necessarily from Figuarts, but from other companies. I've got the Mezco one, I've got some Mafex versions. This is now my favorite. I love the head sculpt, they look fantastic. The paint applications on the gold is awesome. The one thing that lets this figure down though is the way they did the wings, with those annoying clear plastic poles that have to hold them up because they are far too heavy for it to be held up on its own. I wish they'd done ratchet joints or made it out of a more lightweight plastic or something so that you didn't have to use those translucent plastic pieces, because they are a bit of an eyesore. But overall, I still love this figure, it's a great release, and I 100% recommend picking it up. It is in stock right now with toyswonderland.com, that's where I happen to get mine. The link for that is, of course, in the description below, and they do have 12-month installment plans if you are a fan of paying off your figures over time. Also, while you are down there, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.